Odd Conduit Media.
What's it gonna be?
You are now listening to the
Hello, all my fellow dreamers. Welcome to another side quest episode of
Hyrule Podcasters.
I'm your co-host, Pat.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
On this podcast, we venture through each game in Nintendo's Zelda franchise. We're not experts or purists. We're just enjoying each game start to finish.
We're between seasons right now, and today we're putting down the sticks and bringing you an exclusive interview instead.
That's right. Today we're joined by rapper, producer, podcaster, video game streamer and enthusiast, Nerdcore pioneer, author, teacher, Guinness World Record holder, and overall inspiration, Raheem Jamil Jarbo, a.k.a. Mega Ran. Welcome to the show, man.
Wow, that was an epic intro. Thank you so much, man. That was good. Can I use that on my album or something?
Always. Yes, certainly.
That's pretty great. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, guys. It's awesome to be here. Love the podcast, love the idea of the podcast, the fact that this exists, and we're living in a space where this can exist. I think that is so awesome. So I'm just happy to be here.
Certainly. Yeah, the podcast was started as a fun idea, and, here we are 2 years later, and we're still going.
Wow.
We're playing Link's Awakening next, which is exciting. It's my favorite of the franchise. Since this is a Zelda podcast, I got to ask, what is your relationship with Zelda?
Oh, man. I bought the first Zelda. I bought the second Zelda. I bought, Link to the Past, which I think is my favorite. I've played mostly every Zelda, and ironically, I haven't beat a lot of them, but I have beat a few of them. And they're always such fun games, just cool experiences. The puzzles, the stories have always caught me. But the ones I did not play are the ones that people probably talk the most about. And that's like the 64 ones. Like,
yeah,
Ocarina is definitely like a lot of people's favorite. I'm super late to that. I started playing it on the DS like way later.
That's the move.
But I never finished it. But I was like, okay, I could see why this is pretty great. But at the time I was like, wait, it's too 3D. Like I was just way weirded out by N64's obsession with turning everything 3D.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, this is not the way Zelda's supposed to be,
Yeah.
So it definitely threw me out. It's much better than Super Mario 64, which I still don't like to this day.
Wow.
I cannot get into that game. I'm sorry.
That's so funny. Have you played any of the other 3D Marios?
Yes. And I like those. I like Mario 3D World and,
okay,
a lot of the other ones. I don't know what it was. I think it was just the timing. Like,
yeah.
I just think the game did not age very well. And I didn't play it the first time, like when it was new.
Oh, okay. You came back around to it. I recently played through that game with a bunch of my friends, and those of us who played the game as kids and multiple times since love it. And everybody who was picking it back up since, they played it a little bit as a kid was like, the camera's awful. It's clunky. The graphics are bad. So I can see that.
Yeah. It didn't age super well, but I remember getting into a huge argument on stream because I was streaming it for the first time. And I was just like, guys, this game's not good. And people were like, you got to look through this in 1996 when like nothing like it existed.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's true. Like every game since has kind of built on that formula and improved on it.
Sure.
So they were the first to jump into this world of like camera angles and, over the shoulder platformers. Yeah. And so it was a tough journey, but I was just like, I remember being solely lost. Like I played it like at a Toys R Us at a kiosk or something.
Yeah.
And I was just like, where do you go? Like, I don't even know. You mean to tell me I can go anywhere I want to? And I just started walking around. I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah. It's not just walk right, and sometimes take a left to see if there's a thing right behind you. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it's the same with Ocarina. I get lost. I didn't actually finish it until we played it just last season, Ocarina. Like
Nice.
I tried so many times, but it's dark and the polygons. But to your point, would you travel the Oregon Trail to get back west, in a covered wagon without any medicine, Or would
Yeah.
you let the pioneers take care of that and in the meantime use what's available to you now? I think it's fair,
Good point. I was upset with Nintendo for re-releasing that game. I just felt
Yeah.
like, come on, Mario 64 needs an overhaul, like completely.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed that I've beat Mario 64 a bunch of times. I've 100%ed it 3 times since COVID showed up. And I just so I love it, but I was really hoping they just use the Mario Odyssey engine
Yeah.
and make the game similar but with much better graphics.
I was hoping that too.
You take what you can get. I also would prefer them to focus on new projects regardless. How many times can I buy every single Mega Man game on different on a different console? And the answer is infinite amount of times. I will buy Mega Man 2 on every console as it shows up.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it was a COVID project, right? Like, they got backed up. They're like, we got to push something out. Well, let's just take these 3 things we've already emulated before and just push them out and see if people will buy that. I will admit I bought it. I have not played. I bought it, didn't play it. Pretty classic.
Right. They were just hoping for that. So if it's for that reason, I understand. Like maybe they didn't have enough staff to really overhaul that game like they may have wanted to. And maybe that's a project for another anniversary.
Yeah. They're not slowing down. They're only speeding up, thankfully, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed, switching gears, that you have a couple tracks on Fresh Kills and Philharmonic's new album, Miscellanea. And then I looked at the credits, and it's released on your Random Beats imprint.
Yes.
Which is cool. Can you tell us a bit about this project and the Random Beats imprint?
I'm a huge fan of Fresh Kills. I'm a huge fan of Phil. And we talk all the time about getting projects done. And Phil is a guy who is extremely picky about beats. The timing has to be perfect. He's a hard guy to please. But when I let him hear a couple of Kills beats, he was into it. He's just like, oh man. And I'm like, what? You like this? Okay. Well, I got to find a way to, make this a moment. And so they didn't know each other. And so I just kind of connected them on an email. It's like, guys, I want you to make an album. I'll help you put it out. I'll do whatever I got to do. Like, let's just get this done because I think you guys can do something great. Phil's a super talented rapper and Kills is just a monster on the beats. So it was a natural connection, and those guys made a really good project. And I was honored to be a part of it. I was on 2 songs and helped them, with picking beats and song structure and sequencing and
sick.
all
So you
that
kind of
fun
executive produced
stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. You curated, helped with some of the arrangements. That's great. I love Fresh Kills. That dude is an incredible producer.
Yes.
We're gonna take a listen to Leviathan, which is the first song off of Miscellanea, and I think Ben has that queued up and ready to go.
It's that time again for the beast to arise again and ride again on beats with the heat to melt the cryogen. Flammable and tameable, involuntarily violent, primordial Leviathan. Yeah, it's that time again for the beast to arise again and ride again on beats with the heat to melt the cryogen. Flammable and tameable, involuntarily violent, primordial Leviathan. So you gon' have to try again.
The rolling of the die, the tempting of the fates, the thunder from the sky accentuating debates, facing an amalgamation of a mouth ascension with a brain race and focus on ascendance. Broken all dependence. Look, a book of verses like a penance. From Phoenix out to Venice, still acknowledge the menace. To any given mosque, to any synagogue, feel the hand of God through the bars. Paint a picture flawed, watching Shadiversity and Scalagram whenever bored. Flow sharpening whatever sword the host is leaning toward.
Thanks, Ben. Hank, Fresh Kills, just the slappy beats.
Oh, yeah.
Everything just pops so much.
It's just so slappy. That's a really good description. It just hits you really hard.
Yeah. I met Fresh Kills when he was on tour. He stopped in Queens and he made us a beat that was on the Vidya Games album.
Nice.
Me and Vinny Video and Dunce Cap, I Love Vidya Games, which you are also a part of.
I am. I'm everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, you're all over the place. I love it.
Thanks. I met Kills. I guess he was on tour with some of the homies from Canada, and I think we played together at South by, maybe Word Burglar, the Back Burner crew, and then we just kept in touch. And once I saw him live, I mean, I think anybody, once you see him live, you're just like blown away. You're a fan instantly, and you must hear more. And I was like that. So we wound up doing a tour together, which was probably the worst tour I've ever been on in my life, to be honest. I wish I had better things to say, but
oh no,
it was myself, Fresh Kills, and Cool Z. And after maybe, I think Uncle Fester joined for a minute. Shout out to him. And Shape for the Dark Lord joined for a minute. But yeah, this tour was awful. So it's like, this is like a game of Survivor where it's like, when you get to the city, like, will the show even be happening? You know, it's one of those. So we get there and they're like, no one called me and confirmed this show. So I don't have a sound guy. I don't know what to tell you. And we're like, no. And what's worse is we had a tour manager, like a booking agent, really working this. And he was their agent. So I don't want to shout him out, but, you know, he was their guy. And he was on vacation while we were on the road. Oh, it was the worst. So our entire schedule just like falling apart. So we have to take over. We're like, all right, guys, we're out here. We better figure something out. So we start calling ahead to venues like, hey, we're coming there in 2 days. Do you know that we have a show in 2 days? And one of them's like, no. And another one's like, yeah. So we wound up like rebooking the tour while on the road. It was just insane. Like, oh, wait, the homies are playing in Albuquerque. So let's just stop over there on the way. And then like, because our Santa Fe show doesn't exist. And yeah, it was just insanity.
Wow.
Yeah. But it built some character and it built a friendship, honestly, with myself, with Cool Z, with Kills. Like because all we had was each other. Like we had to bond and we had to come together because one day Cool Z is just like, the hell with this, man, I'm going home. And we're like, no. And then the other day, Kills is like, man, the hell with this, I'm going home. And we're like, no. And the last day, I'm like, the hell with this, I'm going home. And like everyone had at different times to talk the other person like into staying. And yeah, it was insane, man. It really was. So, but I say all that to say, like through that trauma, you know, a friendship was forged. So whenever I'm in Canada, I get to hang out with Kills. We recorded a ton of music together at his spot. He comes out here, we hang out. Like he's become one of my best friends. And through that process, and you know, we had to be forged in the fire.
You know, I've learned, and I've read some articles about this. Like I just moved to a new city at 34. How do I make new friends? And basically, everything I read is once you hit a certain age, going through a traumatic experience or a difficult, like building something or taking a trip that's somewhere unfamiliar is just a quick way to form a bond. And those days on the road are very trying, you know?
Yeah.
I've had, like, I took some kids on the road once, you know, they were under 21, but I really wanted their album to come out. This was years back. And it was one of those tours where we'd show up. And the problem was it was a lot of DIY spaces, right? Because these kids are under 21, so we can't book bars.
Right.
And we would show up. And I've learned how to like run a soundboard to a degree at this point. And you just kind of pool your resources and try to figure out how to make it work. But, you know, here you are however many years later and you're helping them put out music and your best buds.
Oh, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Like, yeah, we had to go through that moment of, you know, who's to say, like, if the shows had went just normal as shows go, like, who's to say if we would have actually had as good of a relationship, you know?
Yeah, it could have been a kind of forgettable experience, you know, and you wouldn't have learned anything about yourselves or one another.
Yeah,
Certainly.
so I want to thank that booking agent for, you know, building character within us. And man, afterwards we wrote him this long letter, like of grievances of like basically why we shouldn't have to pay him 20%. Right. And he was just like, yeah, I saw all that, but no, you got to pay me.
Jeez, that's raw.
Oh man, it was nuts.
That's raw. That's why promoter's a bad word, you know. Promoter's a 4-letter word.
It really is.
So Speaking of trials and tribulations, on your verse on the Dunce Cat Vinny Vinny video album, I Love Video Games, the song Continue is autobiographical. And it was kind of my first sneak peek into your life story. You know, I have some specific questions about that verse that I'm not going to ask because I don't want to pry, but that led me to reading your memoir.
Ooh.
It's incredible. Dream Master, great book. I just ran right through it.
Dude, thank you.
A great read. We're going to pull up your verse from that song here if Ben wants to pop that in now.
Yo, when Grizz handed me the bag, didn't know what it was, but I knew better than to ask. Mama called him a thug, but he was family, so it passed like a storm in the summertime. What's the day's math? Check it. This was one of those days with the time creeping by till I peeped this mist from the southernmost sky. And what seemed like seconds, it turned unpleasant. Whole town felt threatened and no one knows why. We mud-made monsters who grew up on turbo hoppers and Contra, E-Man and Blanca, who sat in front of CRTs and dreamt like Martin Tupper. But these dreams ain't paying rent, so we found another way that wouldn't cause much contempt. Put a pen to the paper was a foolish attempt. The world don't need no more rappers, that's extra facts. Borrow from a pessimist, he won't expect it back. I should've listened when he said this, cause go with the flow is advice that's good for dead fish. The rest of us gotta get up and get this. Early bird gets the worm, the late one is breakfast. Yeah.
Yes. I love that verse.
Hey, it's like a ton of proverbs.
I know.
That's you know what? Now that I think about it, I think in that same session, I was recording some verses for friends, and then I got into recording the audiobook. Or maybe it was one way or the other way. But I do believe I was recording the audiobook at the same time. And so it definitely was affecting the way I was writing, because a lot of that stuff was either stories from my book or lessons that I learned that I also tell in the book. So I can definitely tell the things that I was saying. I was like, yeah, this is stuff that came to me while I was reading my book, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like a preview. It's like a preview to the book in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, in that book, I was kind of, I've always known you as a, fun, we have a professional relationship and we have fun in the green room. And I don't think that you ever slept on my couch or anything like many touring artists have, but we're always pretty much having a good time. But in that, we're keeping on a smile for the fans.
Yes.
And even like counting out money for shows, it's still you're professional. And just to see you bare your soul so much and get into some traumatic experiences and to read all about that was really incredible. When you put this book out, what was it like to be suddenly, bang, it's out there, you're vulnerable, people can read about all these things that happen to you throughout your entire life?
Man, it scared me to death. It really did. I didn't think about it. I guess I just kept thinking to myself, no one's going to read this. And then I'm like, I really hope no one reads this. It just starts to turn into that. Because I already have really long, maybe even personal, private, soul wrenching conversations at the merch table. You know what I mean? This is a part of what I do, and I've done it for a long time. And so now I'm like, oh boy, now they can bring up, hey, what about that time in the book where you said this? And I can be like, I don't want to talk about that,
Yeah.
Or my mom being like, hey, is this really what happened? Let's talk about this, And some of the things that I just, I never had the heart to tell family, until I wrote it down.
Right.
I said a line about that sometime. I don't have a journal. I couldn't afford a talk space. So I just listened to beats and wrote raps all day,
Yeah.
It was just what it was. This was my therapy, and so to be able to talk about these things, and as I'm writing them, just starting to learn more about myself, oh, wow, this explains this and this explains that. It was a really therapeutic experience. And it was scary, it's to the point where my mom is like, well, how come we never talked about this? Or why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, so I really don't want to have those conversations about what I wrote, but I realize that that's a part of the process.
Yeah.
So it added a new level of fear to me, and it was just another new fear to conquer,
Yeah. It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, because, they always say, like, if you're working on a new project or whatever you're doing, it should scare you at least a little bit.
I like that.
And so when I work on a new album, I'm always thinking that, like, did I do anything scary? Did I try something that was scary? No? All right, well, then get back to work until you're trying something scary. And the book was the scariest thing ever because I never wrote a book before. Like, I had talked to some publishers and things about advice, but I didn't get anywhere. So I was just like, a lot of people were saying to me, you need to just self-publish your first, and then you can have like a proof of concept to go to a publisher for your second book or whatever.
Okay.
And I was like, second book? Like, I'm not thinking about another thing. This was painful, And so I think our next book will be a children's book or something a lot lighter.
Oh, fun.
Because I've had people tell me like, oh man, your book is so sad or it's so heart-wrenching. And I was like, I didn't mean for it to be sad. Like, I think it has a happy ending. Like, there's some positive moments in this book.
There's a lot of positive moments. I mean, if I may say, like, there's a lot of like, at one point you say, I've never told anyone this before, and you recount a traumatic experience, but I didn't even take that as a sad thing. It's, in fact, again, I'm just inspired by you putting it out, and it's wonderful to see you put it on a page. I could understand how somebody could see it as sad. I grew up listening to a lot of, my teachers were like, why do you listen to sad music? And I'm like, Radiohead's not sad. They're brilliant. So I guess my barometer's a little off.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's brave. That's brave putting all that down on paper, man.
Thank you, man. I like my local newspaper wrote about it, and they were like, Mega Ran details tragedies on the way to writing his new book. And I'm like, oh man, like really? It's just about tragedies? Like, oh gosh. So
tragedies end poorly, as you said. The book ends with you right now, and you are a success. So how can it be that tragic?
Well, I think
well
I think that's the exciting thing about a memoir. It's a snapshot in time. Like it is Mega Man right now and kind of what got you to this point. And it's really exciting even just to think about like, what you're going to continue to do, and people are still going to want to read that and understand kind of where you're going. And it could even be a snapshot of the same timeline, but like from a different perspective, right? Or in a different medium, like you're saying, doing like a children's book, right? That could even be like reflective kind of like of your, life story. And that's pretty exciting, like from my perspective.
Yeah, I think so. I felt like, no, I totally, I was fighting with that within myself. Because I was like, are people just going to pull out the really rough moments and make that what the book's about? Or are we going to like, dig deep and ask some questions and maybe just focus on the positives, Right. But, the next book will certainly be much more uplifting and lighthearted.
Cool. Some of the fun parts that you talk about are all the different ways you play video games with your friends growing up. And a part that stood out to me is Halo parties.
Yeah.
Now, Ben and I hosted and attended many Halo parties, carrying TVs across town,
Yes.
Can you tell the kids at home who might not know what that is, what that's all about?
Well, before the days of Wi-Fi everywhere and everybody being all, connected, we had to get together in person to do that. And Halo was one of the first games where we would just plug up these LAN cables and get to work, man. So that we'd have to be like, bring your TV and you bring your Xbox and you bring a controller and you bring a controller. And we would just go to town, man. It was, I think the Halo parties are an extension and I think an evolution of the GoldenEye parties, because it all started with GoldenEye, I think, for a lot of people. First person shooters, with 4 players just going at it. And then being able to then expand that to 16, it was just like unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And so we were like all night, just whoever's mother had to work late or worked overnight shift, that's whose house we were over until the sun came up, playing Halo just all day long, Blood Gulch and you know all these
chugging Surge and
man, oh man, just rockets
yelling at your friend for looking at your screen like not fair.
Yeah,
not
stop
fair.
screen watching. Get off my screen.
Watching, yeah, screen watching. Yep.
Oh my gosh, man, those
That's great.
times, you know, like
a lot of fun.
It was just really good times, and it really built, you know, camaraderie and character in a different way. And it was everybody, you know, it was like the cool kids, the nerds, everyone got together to play because it just became a cultural phenomenon. And, and yeah, like it was, and I think even to this day, that's probably why I'm not as big of an online guy as I am when it comes to gaming, you know, because I just really remember those days when we were in the same room, just having a lot of fun. And I wish we could do that. So I may have, I don't know, 100 people on my friends list, but I very seldom play a game with them, you know, maybe once in a while. But I just really long for those days where we could all sit together, do some old couch co-op.
Some old couch co-op.
Yeah.
I look at the connection that we're able to make now. Like, I play Mario Party on Switch with my friends back east, you know, every other weekend, you know, my partner and I hang out with another couple and like, that's fun, but I don't play any other shooter. I don't play any shooters online. And I understand that it connects us to a degree, but it doesn't force us to drive across town, sit in the same room as somebody and hang out in person, which that's my favorite thing about Nintendo, I think. And was my favorite thing about video games, especially in college, was just the social element, you know?
For sure. I haven't done it much lately, but I remember first getting the Switch and just carrying it everywhere and being like, all right, well, if I'm in a restaurant, we could just bust this out, you know?
Yeah.
And we've done it several times. Me and a bunch of the homies are together. Like, Street Fighter? What? You said Street Fighter? Okay, cool. Let's go. And we just right there at the restaurant table or Mario Kart or things like that. So it's a real good feeling. That's the closest to bringing back that feeling for sure.
It really is. And I think that Nintendo they want to preserve that. I've been on flights where next thing you know, me and the person I'm flying next to were playing Switch on the little tray table with the little Joy-Con. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
There's a great story in Dream Master about you sampling some video game music and expecting a conversation to end in a cease and desist. But it didn't turn out that way. Can you just shed a little light on that for the listeners?
It's a fun story to tell. I used to tell it on stage a lot. And this is the MySpace days. Everybody's just kind of doing their thing and getting their top 8s together and all that. And I got this strange idea to just, at least I thought strange at the time, to sample a bunch of video games and make an entire album about me having a dream and that I was Mega Man and then living a day as Mega Man. And so I put this album out and I was so afraid of like my MySpace being shut down because MySpace was literally everything we had. And I was just like, oh boy, I'm scared. These samples, I don't know what could happen. And it was the worst feeling or the worst fear to go to your own page and be like, not found, 404. You're like, no. You know? So I was afraid. So I had created a second page that wasn't random, which was I was calling myself at the time. It was Megaran. And next thing you know, I blame it on this. It had to be because of this. Like I put the album out and then IGN does a review. This is back when they used to review music projects. They review the album. Like I didn't send it to them to review it. They just found it and decided to review it. And I'm reading this like, this is great. No, this is terrible. You know, like,
I didn't clear my samples.
Oh man, they know about it. You know, IGN is like the biggest gaming site there is. And so that evening, the Megaran page gets a direct message from Capcom's page. And I'm like, yep, here it is. This is the end. Like, thanks a lot, IGN. You know, game over for Megaran. And it's a big old C. And the guy's like, hey, man, I'm from Capcom. And we just heard about this Mega Man album you did. And I'm like, God, man. And he's like, oh, by the way, don't worry. this is not a cease and desist. I'm like, whew,
Yes.
oh my God.
They
He's
put
like,
it up top. That's kind of
yeah,
them.
I'm glad he did that. You know, he like skipped a few lines and then said that. And then he's like, we just want to talk to you about it because we think it's really cool. Like, we have this site called Capcom Unity. And Capcom was really ahead of the game when it came to this. They would highlight community members who would make fan art. And they called this album fan art. And I'm like, yeah, it is fan art. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a fan. I made some art, you know. And so they let the people hear it. And they were like, well, we want to interview you on Capcom Unity. And I'm like, oh, cool. So we do an interview. They're asking me my favorite Mega Mans and all these other questions that I have gotten on every podcast since I've done that.
Right.
But like, yeah, what's your favorite Mega Man? How would you know? And so we're having a really good time. And the interview comes out. And then the lady who wrote it, she messages me. She says, hey, Comic-Con's coming up pretty soon. Have you ever been? And I'm like, no. What? She's like, well, this album is really doing well, like virally, and like you're a part of the community now. Like it would be crazy if I didn't invite you to Comic-Con. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you'd be a guest of Capcom. Like, come to Comic-Con. And I'm like, okay. And at that time, I had just moved to Phoenix, so luckily I was pretty close to San Diego. But man, I've been reading comic books my whole life. And I've just been reading about how awesome Comic-Con is. And I'd never been. And the first time I'm going to a Comic-Con, I'm a guest of Capcom, which was insane. And I haven't gotten that kind of treatment since then, to be honest. Like, I think I'm bigger now than I was then. But they were just like, yeah. And like my badge said like guest of Capcom. Like it was really cool. And so I come in and I'm sitting there signing autographs and people are coming up asking me about the album. And it was really, really dope. And after that, a movie is coming about on, I think it's on Netflix now. This is maybe before Netflix. And it's called Second Skin. It's about like video game addiction. And and they were like, hey, we think your song Grow Up, which is like a Mega Man sample track I did, it's like a perfect ending credits song. And I'm like, oh, end credits? Like, who doesn't want to be in credits? Yes. And they were like, yeah, just show us your licensing paperwork with Capcom. And I'm like, say what now? Like, yeah, like surely Capcom has given you permission to do this. And I was like, kinda? I mean, we're friends. I don't know. What does that mean? They invited me to Comic-Con. And they're like, oh, you need something on paper, dude. And so they had their lawyer email Capcom. And in a couple of days, Capcom sent me back paperwork saying like, here, you sign this off and you're officially licensed by Capcom. And I'm like, what? You know,
yes,
it's like the ultimate good ending of this, you know, like, yeah, as rappers or hip hop kids, like, you know, the secret's out. We sample, dude. We don't think about anything. We just sample. Like we are enjoying, you know, we're just making art. You know, no one's thinking about the business side of these things. We're just making art. But, you know, there was always that what if that thing you sample just decides to get bigger than you and you might have to pay some people, you know? And I didn't think about that being a possibility at all. And so sure enough, this guy was so nice to get me a license. And so we re-released the album. The first thing I did was I was like, we're doing a repackaged version of the album with Capcom's logo, like in the corner, you know,
definitely
like,
got to get that logo on there
by Capcom. Yeah, to make it official. And since then, man, it's been an awesome relationship. And that's just led to from one thing to another, you know, like from meeting these guys who maybe then leave Capcom, go to other companies. They're like, oh man, come and do something with me over here. I'm working at Square. Oh, come get, you know, I'm working over here, you know? So it's just led to these really great relationships within the gaming industry. And, yeah, it's just like the most amazing ending to that story because I really thought grand opening, grand closing for Mega Ran, like, yeah, it was nice, but you're out of here. Like, you know, and it just so happened. And I'm not saying that I influenced this, but in the year after I put this album out, Capcom decides to return to the retro style and they put out a game called Mega Man 9. Now, I'm not saying I influenced that, but just saying. And so my friend at Capcom was like, hey, we're about to do a new retro game. And I was like, oh, really? And they didn't ask me to make songs about it, but they kind of like were like, it would be really cool if you made some songs. And I was like, well, The reason why I made songs about the original Mega Man games is because this music has been stuck in my head for 20 years, you know?
Right.
That's why. Like, these are great songs to me. So I got to be honest. If I hear the new soundtrack and it doesn't move me, I can't do it. Just turns out the Mega Man 9 soundtrack is really dope.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So good. It's just like excellent, like on par with the best of the series. And then I found out they had a female boss for the first time. And I was like, oh, well, here we go. Like, this writes itself. I write a little ditty called Splash Woman, which
it's a great
to
track.
this day is still like my biggest song. You know, it's like a song that I still have to end shows with. And I'm like, I wonder how many people know that this is about a boss in like a digital only Mega Man release that came way past its prime. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many people know even what the story is of Splash Woman or Mega Man 9, but they love the song so much. And so, yeah, that was what led to me writing the album that would be called Mega Ran 9.
Right.
And from there, I think in that process, I was like more known as Mega Ran than anything. And so it led to like a name change because I was like, I'm getting confusing. Random is just a terrible word to name yourself. It's like the opposite of, it's like the opposite of search engine friendly.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, like random, what? You know, yeah, it wasn't Googleable. So remember, kids, make your name Googleable.
Yes. Big lesson to take away. If you haven't come up with a rap name yet, make it Googleable.
Yeah, Google it and see what comes up. So yeah, Mega Ran became the name, and from there it was like a heavy focus, maybe not like a 100% focus, but it was definitely a heavy focus on video games, retro kind of concepts and pop culture. And then I discovered, kind of just doing that, the term nerdcore and this whole subgenre and movement that was happening, like parallel with like the indie rap movements of the past, and people were just doing their thing, like making really cool music, like playing to good crowds, and you know, and having fun. And these guys welcomed me in with open arms, and that's kind of, you know, the beginning of kind of the Mega Ran story. It all came from that.
That's beautiful. We're gonna play a little snippet from Splash Woman, which I agree is a fantastic song. It's good when the song that everybody wants you to end with is a song you like. And isn't, you know, one that you regret making?
Yeah, because that would suck.
I'm gonna see, and she told me her name was Splash Woman, beautiful but deadly. She was mad cunning, had a voice that could soothe the savage. Beast of physique was way above average. Magic the way she got me in a spell, got me on lockdown, sorta like a cell. But I got a mission that I can't afford to fail. But girl, I got a secret to tell. I don't know how to say this, so I'ma just say it, that you're my favorite. Even underwater, I'm enchanted by your fragrance. You're nothing to play with, won't you be my baby? Or maybe we can get up out of this land and maybe get a bite somewhere, my dear. Even though she knew the truth about Ran, I had a feeling she wouldn't understand. Yo, I got a chance. I thought I was in love before, but I love you more. So baby, come aboard and go away with me, so I can make you see what you mean to me. And baby, we can be free. Oh, whoa. Under the sea, just you seem like every couple years I get that feeling.
So I noticed that you have an upcoming collab with Penny the Great and Slop Funk Dust. The album's up for pre-order at megaranmusic.com. It's a hip-hop tribute to perhaps the most influential anime series ever, Robotech, aka
Macross.
You excited for this release?
I am. We've been working on this and like just kind of putting it together and making sure it was perfect for a long time. And it was just one of those things where me and Penny, we've been friends forever. And just one day we just happened to discuss something. I was like, oh man, that looks like the guy from Robotech. And he's like, what do you know about Robotech? And I was like, what do you know about Robotech? And then we just had this really long conversation about how much we both love this kind of obscure anime at this point. But like we went back, watched it again. It still holds up. It was like a space soap opera almost. It was the first show I watched where characters would die. Like, you know, there was real love and feelings and love triangles and like so much stuff. It was like the Final Fantasy VII of anime. Like it really was. Like it changed me in that same way that Final Fantasy VII did. And for the same reasons. We were like, oh snap, they're humans. Like they can die. Like, you know, and that like has stuck with me forever, and it had a great soundtrack and just really dope toys. It was where the Transformers toy, I don't know if you're familiar with Jetfire, and there was this big controversy on the Toys That Made Us about the toy Jetfire, which existed as like a bootleg Transformer, but then like Hasbro kind of took it and used it anyway, and then it was the same exact toy because it was a transforming robot jet, and there's the same exact toy as like the main jet in this Robotech story that is a Transformer character. So it's a really interesting story.
Sample.
And that, yeah, so I just liked how cool the, transforming robots in the 80s, like, come on, like this is amazing. So the show's great. The album's phenomenal. We just kind of tell some stories, like pieces like here and there from like really important like story arcs and kind of place ourselves in it. So it's almost like an opera, I think. It's kind of like a hip hop opera where we just jump into character and we just go and we're singing songs. And it's really dope. And Slop Funk Dust did all the beats. Slop's done some amazing stuff in the past. For me and for tons of other cats. He's worked with like Danny Brown. He's worked with Little Brother. He's worked with Your Old Droog. I mean, so many cats that I really like. So he gave us a real hard hitting like tracks for these records that it's a short one. It's like 8 or 9 tracks, but it's going to be short and sweet. It's going to hit you right in the feels. And even if you don't know the show, I think you'll enjoy the beats and the rhymes and the story.
Yeah, I've found that concept albums based around media that already exists are often a really good introduction to the media. I feel like my mom would always say, read the book before you watch the movie.
Yeah.
But which is a great thing to do because your imagination, you can flex your imagination, you can make it what you want. But if you don't have necessarily the inspiration or time to watch a whole series or read a whole book, listening to that concept album or, watching that series or that quick movie can really help get you in the mood. So maybe you're on the way to making a bunch of new Robotech fans who were just hip hop fans beforehand.
Maybe. I mean, the fans of this show are just so, I would say they're a little cantankerous right now. Like they're online and they're kind of frustrated because they've talked about remakes, they've talked about reboots, they've talked about live action movies, and like nothing's happened. There were some really good games back in like the PS2 Xbox era that were really good, but there hasn't been anything since, and they really want more. So I really think those fans are going to be happy with seeing something happening with that fans of the franchise will enjoy. Good.
I didn't comb through your whole catalog. Do you have a song that you can think of that samples some music from Zelda?
No. And I'll tell you why. Nintendo is not as nice as Capcom when it comes to samples. But I've done some for Patreon. I have. There is a song actually with Penny the Great.
Nice.
It is called The Grind. And just talking about like leveling up in life.
Cool.
And it uses the Zelda fairy music theme from Link to the Past.
Come on, y'all taking too much time. I got a bunch of thoughts racing through my mind. You might think I'm mistaken, but I gotta bring home the bacon. I'm on my grind. I'm a link to the past where the good doesn't last. I heard her voice and it awoke me from my nap. Gotta remove the sword from its pedestal and embark on a journey that's most incredible. And I'm not in the beef, but survival's starting to sound like an impossible feat. Seen the top of the heap, from the bottom is deep. The evil leaders got the masses to follow like sheep. And don't forget the maidens, some akin to the sages, all in grave danger. Guess who gotta save them? Dark wizards in the dark world. Got me living like I finished watching Dark Girls. With Bill Duke, here's the real truth. Got archers on the roof and they will shoot.
Wow, that was a great song. Thanks for sharing that. And if you want more of that, you can go to Mega Ran's Patreon. Allow me to pass the mic to Ben. I think that he had a question about something that you just did.
Okay.
Yeah, so most recently you were featured on the soundtrack for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video game Shredder's Revenge. Yeah, and I just want to know, how'd you get involved in that project?
Oh, man. Some things just kind of come to me. A lot of times, I spend a lot of my day reaching out to try to make things happen. But I think the most cool things that have happened in my life have just been people saying, hey, do you want to do this? And I'd be like, yeah. So that was how the Mortal Kombat soundtrack worked. That's how, Capcom stuff happened. So this was the same way. T. Lopes is an incredible musician. He scored the Sonic Mania reboot. He's done a bunch of stuff, and he's so good at so many different genres of music. He messaged me just out of the blue and said, "Hey, are you free to do any like collab work?" And I was like, "What's up?" Like, if you're talented, absolutely, let's do something. And he's like, "So I got this Turtles theme, and like we finished the whole soundtrack, but the ending is missing something." And I'm like, "Well, what's it missing?" He's like, "It's missing Mega Ran." And I'm like, "What?" and so he really wanted me to like get on there, kick some 90s style raps. He's like, something like, Vanilla Ice or MC Hammer would do. But like, I was like, "Oh, I'll do my best," And a lot of people were like, I was telling my friends and I was so excited. And they're like, "Dude, you got to do this." I was like, "But yeah, I don't want it to be corny though." And then I'm like, "Well, what if it is corny? Like, it's the Turtles. Like, just have fun,"
right.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I shouldn't take myself too seriously. Let's just do it." And recorded the verse, and he's like, "I got to send this off to Nickelodeon to get approval for your lyrics." And I was like, "Whoa, Nickelodeon." It's the first time I ever heard that. I'm like, people at Nickelodeon heard my raps? Like, that's cool. But yeah, he's like, "I love it. This is going to be the ending theme of the game." And I'm like, "Oh man, like this is a very highly anticipated game." So like to be the ending theme was like a huge, huge honor to me. And, and man, since it came out, like I have been getting hit up left and right from people. Like first it was the early adopters, like my friends who were like reviewers at, different game companies or game magazines or publications were like, "Dude, I just played through a press version of the game and oh my God, I heard you." And I just went crazy. And I was just like, "Thanks, man." And then after it came out, like people every day just being like, "Oh my God, I thought that was you. I heard your voice. Oh my gosh, that's so cool." And that to me, like I didn't realize how big and cool it was until people started kind of making me see that. And so yeah, that's kind of how it happened. I wrote and I finished it in like maybe 3 days. Like it wasn't very difficult, but it was like, I guess it's the Turtles rap that I just never knew was in me. Like I've never rapped about the Turtles in my life, but like it was the Turtles rap that was always inside of me. And I think we did a great job, and it's such a great soundtrack. I mean, Raekwon and Ghostface are on it. Like,
yeah, that's fantastic.
I mean, Mike Patton, like it's just incredible. The lineup on this sound. I almost expected Vanilla Ice to just show up, like because it's that stacked, And so maybe we can get a remix with Vanilla Ice on it. I don't know.
Goals.
Heard it here first. Yeah, why don't we take a listen to you coming in at the end?
It's called for some turtle power. Let's go. Extra, read all about how Shredder and Crank rat things without a doubt. So here's a little story I like to tell about 4 youngsters coming out of their shells. You might be wondering what this was come to. Talking turtles all bursting kung fu. Straight from the sewers, making maneuvers in New York City, bringing it to wrong viewers. Donatello, a veteran thinker, trained under the watchful eye of Splinter. Raphael is strong, but he's reckless. Next is Michelangelo, he ain't stressing. Working harder and fearless leader, and after a long fight, he needs some pizza. The only thing that'll flood is hunger, and if you with me, yell cowabunga.
I mean, you can just, as soon as it pops on and you come on, right after that, like amazing kind of like sax, intro into you. And it does. I mean, it sounds so much like that 90s hip hop, and I do like that you leaned into like the camp and the enjoyment of it all. Cause like you said, it's the Turtles. The Turtles are kind of campy. Like that's part of like who they are and what they do.
Absolutely. So you can't be too cool to like really lean into exactly what they want for that. And I was super happy with it once I finished it up. I'm like, yeah, this is great. Like, I love it. So I'll just shout out to T for even thinking of me, man. That was really, really awesome. So I was glad to do it.
That's wonderful.
Amazing.
Great. That's the third credits that you've been a part of, right? Because you were part of the Mighty Number 9.
Yeah.
And then these two. That's great.
Mighty Number 9. There was, Mortal Kombat 11.
Mortal Kombat, right.
And this, I think so. So that's 3. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What accomplishment.
Maybe I'll be the go-to guy for the ending credit raps. Like I need
Yeah, let's get that out there.
I need
Let's
to
put that
corner
out
that
there.
market. You need
Definitely.
credits raps? I got you.
And you're just a perfect guy to be like, congratulations, you beat the game. You know? I would if every time I beat a video game, you popped up on screen and said, congratulations, you did it. It would make the end of that game
that would
even
be
better.
great. My next goal, I mean, I just keep scratching things off the bucket list, but my next goal is voice acting in a game.
Cool.
I want to voice a character, even if it's just an NPC. Like I really want to voice someone. And I think that would make me so happy.
Yeah. Let's put that out there. Hey, if any of our listeners know how to get Mega Ran some voice acting in a video game, holla at your boy. We'll put him on.
Yes. I have another, I can't talk about it, of course, but I do have another video game credit coming hopefully this year.
Woo.
Hopefully one more this year. And it's another one that I'm really, 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 really excited about.
Great. That's awesome. We'll keep an eye out for it. We've pretty much covered all the questions that I have. Do you have any more new projects or tours that you'd like to promote?
Well, we haven't talked about it yet, but there will be a tour announced for the album Protoculture Season with me and Penny and Slop.
Great.
We will be hitting the road, which is exciting. Like, I haven't been on the road with those guys yet. And Slop's been on the road and, in the past, but we haven't all been able to do something together. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to have a short run through the Midwest coming up very soon. That will be announced early July, I'll say. So
you're hitting the road with Penny. You'll release those dates soon. Everybody, if you want to follow Mega Ran, it's at Mega Ran on Twitter, Mega_Ran on Instagram. We'll include all this in the show notes. He also has a podcast.
Yes.
It's called Random Encounters Podcast and Matt Mania Podcast, where Mega Ran covers all the things that you need to know about wrestling. And that's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get the pods. Anything else that I'm missing? Megaran.com.
Wow, I don't think so. You got everything. I stream 4 days a week on Twitch. So come through, watch me play games, watch me DJ on Mondays. We watch TV, we do watch alongs, we do all kinds of things. So come on by. You never know. I think this week I'm going to be playing Portal because I've never played it before.
Fun. Oh, hey. And I was thinking, a way around the Nintendo copyrights could be to sample the Oracle of Ages and the Oracle of Seasons, because those are Capcom. Your homies at Capcom might be able to hook you up with that music. If that's something you feel like doing.
I think that's a really good idea.
That could be a good step into the
It's
Zelda
funny that
universe.
you also mentioned Awaken. You mentioned Link's Awakening. Are you playing the Switch, the remake or the original?
DX.
Okay, the original is the probably better, but
I love that game so
good.
much.
So I actually did a song that's so funny. It got rejected for a Nintendo commercial, but me and my boy Alfred Banks, we had someone just hit us up and was like, "Can you write a song about Link?" And we're like, "Yeah, absolutely." So that's also on Patreon. It's called Awakening with me and Alfred Banks. And,
wonderful.
That might be a good one to play. I think that makes a lot of sense today.
Okay, yeah, we'll sneak that in here at the end too.
Nice.
Awakening, we about to take it to another level. Awakening,
Watch out for monsters and other angry fellows.
awakening.
I feel my moment is about to come. As soon as I link with Link, I know we'll be number one.
From 93 to 2019. Took a break, but now we back up on the scene. Gave it to you in color the first time around. Nowadays we switched it up, man, it's going down. Classics never die, you should know the name. Yeah, we playing games, but we ain't playing games. Lots of memories is what we getting into. So go and press start for a new adventure.
On Nintendo, it's the franchise player. Outlasted every hedgehog and vampire slayer. 25 in, thought that he would contemplate retirement. Now fans making noise like the instruments and sirens. It's perfect timing, in line with the protocol. Engine got an overhaul, perfect scores overall. Breathe and take it in, but get the hastening. Ain't no time for vacationing. Straight up, wake up!
Awakening, we about to take it to
Mega Man, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
I know that I learned so much about you and about life in general reading your book. I encourage everybody to go find a copy of Dream Master wherever they buy their books. Your extensive discography is available all over the place. We're excited to have you on, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you, all of our listeners, for tuning in to another episode of
Hyrule Podcasters.
We'll see you next time. Thanks again.
Everybody.
That was really fun, man.
Yes.
Thanks for plugging into this week's episode of
Hyrule Podcasters.
If you like what you're hearing and want to support us directly, you can head over to our Patreon for early access to episodes, exclusive Discord benefits, behind-the-scenes videos, and more.
If you'd like updates, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Hyrule Podcasters and Twitter at Hyrule Podcaster. Links to everything can be found in the show notes.
And be sure to rate and review us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you happen to listen.
As always, this episode was produced by your co-host, Patrick, and we'd like to thank LT Headtrip for composing original music for the podcast, including our theme song.
And again, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
Odd Conduit Media.